Hi guys! Good morning. At least it's morning. It's here in my side of the world. It's currently 8:45 a.m. and I'm here in Los Angeles, California. It's my first time here in the States, so I'm very excited to just look around and see what good things are here. So it's been very cold for me. And people are just walking around saying how nice it is because it's warm, but it's really, really cold for me. It's like 15 degrees Celsius and around like 10 at night. And I almost can't wash my hands because of how I feel, how cold it is for me. Anyway, if you feel cold, your sales don't have to be. So this morning, I'm going to discuss to you one sales trick that will definitely affect your bottom line big time, and also affect how people come to you frequently and how people feel better when they buy your stuff. So every time we put out a sales pitch out there or an upsell, we are offering something to people that they buy, that they get in exchange for their money. So the exchange is money versus product or money versus services. So the thing is, when people part with their money, they're not just getting your item, they're also getting something from it. They're also getting an emotional benefit from it. And this is one of the biggest reasons why you will always find yourself spending more for your wants than your needs. Okay, so here's a challenge. What do you think are the top needs of a human being? So if you bumped into the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, it will show that the physiological needs for shelter, food, and what was that? Food, shelter, and maybe water. I forgot. was at the top. At the bottom, because you hold the most needs for it. So it's like a pyramid, right? The bottom has is the one that you need the most. So these things are very, very useful to us, and without these things we cannot survive. But if you as you go up at the pyramid, there's like social belonging and security and stuff like that. All of these other needs, you will find out, are actually emotional. And so I challenge you, make a list of the things that you spend on and divide them into needs or physiological needs, or the things that you need to survive, versus the things that you just buy because you want it, because you want to feel a certain way, you want to project a certain way to other people, or you want this thing because it's the newest thing, it's a hobby, it's a vice, whatever. But my point is, we spend more for our wants than for our needs. That's why, as the sales trick that I'm gonna introduce to you today, you should think of it as a way to get to people to buying what you want while making them feel good about themselves and reminding them that they're actually buying the thing to feel good about themselves. And this trick is called appeal to self-perception. So every one of us has a certain way of looking at ourselves. So me, a lot of people might look at me as a role model, and some people might not. But for people who look at me as a role model, they feel like I'm very skilled, like they feel like I'm very talented and all that, successful. But at the same time, despite all of these things, and me claiming these things to be true, there is still a higher version of me that I want to be, a Karla that I want to be, like my own role model, my own desire to be. So every person has their own higher being or higher version of themselves. So what you need to do is to incorporate that in what you're selling. So appeal to the person that they want to be. So you ask yourself, for your ideal customer, what kind of person do they want to be? What kind of qualities does this ideal higher self has that they want to have, or that they want to think they have? That's why they'll buy your product. So I saw this trick to become very useful in upselling things. So sometimes, even if a person has already bought something from you for whatever reason that they think they're buying it for, you can still inject the appeal to self-perception if you want to upsell them to something higher. So let me tell you about a story. A few weeks ago, I was hanging out at this wine bar in Makati, and there was a girl working there, and she was entertaining these clients. These clients, for me, look rich and that they can afford the wine there. And she said to these customers, as they were selecting their wine for that evening, they want to buy this wine brand by the glass, but because they also, they in their head they just want one glass to cap off the night. But then the girl said, oh, if you want to buy that by the glass, you can just buy by the bottle because it's cheaper. And then they were like, no, we'll just buy by the glass. And then, so for me personally, I wouldn't say cheaper, because that assumes that the person buying it is cheap. So of course you're not saying that it's cheap or that they're cheap people. In the first place, you're not selling cheap products, right? You're selling affordable products or value for money products, good value products. That's what you're selling. So never say the word cheap, because nobody wants to be cheap, even if they're actually cheap. Everyone, like me, I'm cheap when it comes to clothes. I don't spend much on clothes, especially on t-shirts. And I spend maybe jeans, because I always wear jeans, and I want to own like maybe 5 pairs of jeans that I want to keep for a long time. So they need to be high quality and stuff. But for my tops, I'm so fine wearing a $2 top, like 100 pesos very easily. In fact, this top is like $3, like 150 pesos. and I really love it. It's super comfortable. So, but even though I buy cheap products sometimes, I don't want to be cheap. That's not how I perceive myself. That's not the ideal Karla. Maybe Karla is frugal, Karla is practical, but that's or that Karla is smart, but Karla is definitely not cheap. Okay? So I told myself, or I told my friend in that bar, who was also in the bar, I told her that I heard that the other girl said this to the clients, but another way of saying it is that, sir, that's a really good choice. It's a good choice of wine. That's one of our best-selling wines. But I think if you're here to enjoy it, you would enjoy it further, and it would be smarter to buy the bottle, because the price there's just a blank percent difference in price. So by saying that, you are appealing to who they want to be, which is smart or practical. So I also don't like to say the word practical so much, because it kind of still assumes that you're cheap. But I like saying smart, because at the end of the day, it's not a lie. It's still a smart decision. So buying a wine by the bottle, if you feel like you're going to drink by the bottle anyway, or if there's at least 30% savings, you can still drink the wine later, right? You can still drink the wine tomorrow or within the next 3 days, so that if you store it properly. So it's still smart to do it. And at the end of the day, who doesn't want to be smart or to feel smart or to be called smart, right? So pick your adjectives very carefully and always appeal to the person they want to be. So just a few caveats here. First is that you need to develop a high emotional intelligence, and you need to look at the clients in a particular way that doesn't insult them. So you have to be able to read them properly and as fast as you can, so you can bring this appeal as fast as you can in whatever part of the pitch that you're at. So you can this trick is best to be used face to face, because then you have a certain facial expression and a certain intention that can just show on your face. Because sometimes you use this on a text, on a Facebook post, or on your sales letter, but sometimes the messages can get jumbled or can get mixed. But I'm not saying that it's not wise to use, but I'm saying that if you want to practice using this, the best way to practice or to start using it is when you're doing a face-to-face interaction. So this trick is also very useful in terms of negotiations, in terms of giving pitches and presenting a certain proposal to a particular company. Now, another caveat is, if you're doing this trick, this appeal to self-perception, don't ever say the opposite. So maybe you want to try this out and say, oh, this is smart if you do this. But if you don't do this, that's really stupid. So don't do that. You don't put that idea in their head. They might just feel offended and insulted. The reason that you do this is that so you can attach positive feelings towards your product or your service by using that appeal to their self-perception. You don't want to make them feel, or you don't want to make any suggestion of otherwise. And lastly, as I've said, you say it with a smile, you say it with good intentions, and your face should always look like you're only serving them for their best interests. So those are the most important things to think about when you're using this sales trick. Okay, so let me know if you like that, if you're eager to start doing that, and if you did some experiments. I'd be happy to hear about them. So thank you so much for staying. I'll be shooting more videos for you here, and stay tuned. Bye.